These 3 common money habits are keeping you poor. Surprisingly enough, these 3 habits get even high-income earners into high-interest debt and make them struggle with money. Welcome. If you're new here to the channel, I'm Andy, and I help 6-figure families and entrepreneurs break the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle with automation. In working with clients and seeing how these habits impact their financial journey, I've gathered some best practices to help you free yourself from these pitfalls. So let's jump in. First up is the car payment. And did you know that the average American has about $31,000 in auto loans? That is a pretty big amount of money tied up into something that is constantly going down in value the second you drive it off the lot. In the first personal finance book that I ever read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, you learn that we should be buying assets and not liabilities. He defines an asset as something that puts money in your pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. When you finance a car, you're not just paying for the vehicle itself, which is a liability that rapidly loses value, but you're also paying interest each and every month, which becomes an even greater financial drain. According to Edmunds, the average monthly payment for new vehicles hit a new high last year of over $700 a month. And this can significantly impact your ability to save and invest in other areas. Now, with the average interest rate for new cars being about 7%, you could theoretically afford a $35,000 vehicle and the 5-year loan that would come with it. Now, let's compare that to investing the same $700 a month into an S&P 500 index fund, earning us 10% on average. Instead of being able to afford a $35,000 loan with monthly payments, you end up $54,205 to be able to pay cash to pay for a vehicle. Now imagine if you bought a cheaper car and just let that money continue to grow over time. Let's talk about new versus used. I mentioned that new cars plummet in value the second you drive them off the lot. They actually lose 20% of their value in the first year alone and be worth only 40% of what you paid for it 5 years later. It's no wonder that in the book, The Millionaire Next Door, the author notes that the average millionaire buys a car that's usually 2 to 3 years old, so they can avoid the massive hit of depreciation. Instead of driving a new car every few years, consider buying a used car and saving up and paying cash for it instead. This way, you not only avoid the depreciation hit, but also the financial strain of having a car payment. You can then allocate that money over time to building wealth instead of having it drain you with an asset that is constantly losing value. I'll leave you with this sobering example. For the average 2-car family, if you instead invested your car payments totaling $1,400 into an S&P 500 fund, after 30 years, you'd have $3,164,683. Think about that the next time you want to look cool at the stoplight. Number 2, not investing. Let's talk about the habit of not investing. A recent Gallup study showed that 38% of Americans don't invest at all. They own $0 in the stock market, leave their hard-earned dollars sitting in low-interest savings accounts where inflation eats them alive. This is like playing Monopoly and never buying any real estate and just going around the board in circles for your entire life. Consider this. If you invested just $1,000 into the S&P 500 10 years ago, that would be worth roughly $3,282 today. Compare that to a savings account at a big bank earning just 0.01% interest, which is highway robbery and exactly what Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Chase are currently offering. You'd actually need $1,327 in today's dollars to give you the same purchasing power that your $1,000 had 10 years ago. Said another way, not only did your $1,000 not earn you any interest, it actually lost you $327 worth of purchasing power, compared to growing to $3,282 in the S&P 500. That's why we say investing is mandatory. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't have to love it, but you have to do it. And look, I get it. Investing can be incredibly intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Very much. Most of my clients that come to me are very nervous about investing, or at least just not confident. Sure, they have a 401k. Do they know how it's invested? Probably not. Do they know what fees they're paying? Probably not. But they are doing something. And I would encourage you to increase your education on this topic. Investing doesn't have to be intimidating. You can start small and slowly increase your contributions over time. Whether it's through a workplace 401k, IRA, individual investing account, you just need to start. Thankfully, the barrier to entry has never been lower. It's not like it was back in the 80s, where if you wanted to get into the market, you had to go find a stockbroker and hope that they knew what they were doing. And if you wanted to invest in a single stock, this is pre-mutual funds, by the way, you had to have the amount for one share. So if you wanted to buy a stock that was trading at $250 per share, you had to have at least $250 to invest. Today, however, you can get into the entire market, the entire S&P 500, 500 of the largest companies in the US. There are index funds that have the entire market, like the Vanguard Total Stock Fund, or VTSAX is the mutual fund ticker, where you can invest in roughly 3,700 companies for as little as $10 a month. So the time, it has never been easier to get into the market. So just get started, even if it's $10, just get the ball rolling today, and you can always increase over time. The earlier you invest, the more time your money has to compound and build you wealth over time. So don't let fear stand in the way and hold you back from something that you need to do. Take that first step, and over time, you'll see tens of thousands of dollars in your investment portfolio, given a long enough time horizon. Now on to our third point, lifestyle inflation. This is the sneaky habit where your spending rises as your income increases. Instead of saving or investing that increase in income, we fall prey to the trap of enjoying a more luxurious lifestyle. Without paying much attention, we sacrifice our financial stability to typically impress people we'll never meet. We purchase larger homes, which means a bigger mortgage payment. We lease or buy more luxurious cars, often spending more than we can afford to. We buy fashionable clothing from high-end luxury designers, often even reaching for credit to make these purchases. It's crazy when you think about it, but it's very, very, very easy to do. Let's take Johnny Depp, who once spent $3 million to fire Hunter S. Thompson's ashes from a cannon. Would you ever consider spending that kind of money? Despite earning millions, he is often teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. According to his managers, he refused to live within his means, despite repeated warnings about his financial condition. Every year, a surprising number of celebrities, and athletes by the way, file for bankruptcy and face financial disaster. Many people fail to think of the long-term consequences of their spending, let alone their not investing. If you're living paycheck to paycheck while earning a decent income, your situation isn't any more secure than someone facing the same struggle at a different income level than you. Here's how I help my clients tackle lifestyle inflation effortlessly. You can see in the image here, there is a box called lifestyle, and that's because your bills are fixed. The spending amounts that we set up every week are fixed. And so everything in that lifestyle box is fixed on purpose. You'll see that all the income is deposited outside of this box for a reason, because it stacks and stacks and stacks. And if you get a $10,000 raise, my advice would be to take half of that and increase your lifestyle, go crazy. Make sure the other half though is going to get invested to help you reach your long-term financial goals. Do this for the rest of your life and you'll crush it while avoiding lifestyle inflation. So let's say you usually earn $50,000 a year. After you receive a promotion, now you're earning $60,000, giving you an extra $833 a month. Instead of spending all that on a fancier apartment or whatever else, or dining out more, you can decide to take half of that and invest it. Let's call it $400. Over a year, your savings will grow an additional $4,800, and you can begin to earn compound interest on those dollars. The lesson here is to save and invest portions of all of your pay raises over time. Again, my clients do this on autopilot. This way, you build wealth instead of getting caught in the trap of lifestyle inflation. To wrap things up, just remember that the habits we discussed here can significantly impact your financial future. By taking control of your money habits, you can stop these behaviors from keeping you poor. So if you're a high-income earner that is living paycheck to paycheck, I know exactly what can solve your problem. It's the method I spent over a decade designing and how I help each and every one of my clients. You can find out more about that up here. Interested in working with me on your financial freedom? You can apply to see if we're fit by booking a call in the description down below. Remember, go rogue, automate your finances, live your life. Thanks for watching.